Okay, hello everyone. This is our tutorial about mathematics in economic and business. In this tutorial, we are going to learn about the application of linear equation in mathematics and business. I would like to share the material first. So I would like to share my Windows, my screen. Here you go. Okay. Yeah. Okay. This is our topics for this tutorial. Application of linear function in economics and business. Okay. So, in application of linear function, there are two kind of economics. The first one called as microeconomics, and the second one is macroeconomics. Micro means a bit smaller part or side of economics. It talk about the business itself, actually, or if it focus on the office or the company, like demand and supply, and then revenue, cost and profit, indifference, budget, utility, production, etc. We will discuss it one by one after this. And then about the other or the bigger economics perspective, it called as macroeconomics. Macro more about national income, investment, import, taxation, how to make policy, etc. In this faculty, we have three major: management, accounting, and also economics. But for international student, you only can choose two of them, which are management or accounting. But in the regular class, there is one more called as economics, or in Indonesian language, it's that for ilmu ekonomi. So this is learn more about macroeconomics, how to make a policy, about taxation, how to decide how much is the tax, how much is the investment, etc. We will see some of the application of linear function in this part too. Okay, the first function called as demand function. Demand function is the relationship between quantity demanded. This is the common relation, is between quantity with the price. Actually, we can also relate it with the other variable, but the most common variable is these two variables: quantity or Q and price, market price, or we can call it as a P. So in demand function, pretend that you are or we are a consumer or consumer, user. So what happened if the price goes up? In the first thing, this one, if the price goes up or increase, then what happened with the quantity? As the consumer or someone that want to buy as a buyer, so usually if we look at or we go to the mall, supermarket, and then see there are so many people in the queue line, such as if in some mall, and then there are one brand that sell or discount, a big discount, clearance, and then the discount is 50%, 50 plus 50, 50 plus 20, and then there are so many person there. That means if the price decrease, if there is a discount, then the price is decreased. If the price decrease, then the quantity demanded will be increased a lot. But if the price goes up, an example, because of pandemic issues, and then now the price of the gold or jewelry is rise or increase a lot. 1 gram of gold usually maybe we can buy it for 500, around 500, but at this time it goes to nearly 1 million rupiah. That means if we are go through the gold or jewelry store, then we will see there are not many people there. That means if the price up, the quantity demanded is decreased. Quantity demanded means the quantity that the person want to order or want to buy. Nah. So the relationship between quantity demanded with the price is to the other or the reverse thing. It means if the price goes up or increase, then the quantity will decrease. Because we are, as a consumer, want to buy more if the price is cheaper, rather than if the price is very high. So that's the demand function. The quantity demanded of a good depend on the market price. That's why the form of the linear equation in this case, or in the quantity demanded, is this is the form Qx equals to A minus B minus B Px. So, the slope is negative. There is an intercept. This is the intercept, and this is the gradient, and the slope is negative. Slope negative means the line will be decreased or goes down. Qx, this is the description first. So actually, about linear equation, there are two kinds of linear equation. It is can be Q function P. So the P, Q function P. In the previous week, we learned about X and Y. Usually the horizontal line is X axis, and then the vertical line is Y axis. But in this case, in the application of economic and business, we will use Q and P, quantity and price. Quantity is in the horizontal line. This is the quantity. And the vertical line or y-axis is for P or for price. The slope, before we discuss about the slope, I would like to tell you, so there are actually two functions. We can make it Q function P or P function Q. The easiest way to detect or to recognize Q function P or Q function P is if the Q function P means the Q is in the left side of equals of the sign, and the P is in the right side. Especially the P is for the independent variable, like this one, Qx equals to function P. That means Qx equals to A minus B Px. Why minus? Because the slope for the demand function always negative. Q is quantity demanded, P is price, A and B is parameter, and B must be negative. The slope must be negative. Why? Because if the price goes up, then the quantity will decrease. So quantity increase, P decrease. P decrease, quantity increase. So negative. Or we can call it in Indonesian language as berbanding terbalik. That's why the slope is negative. Okay. The principle of demand function, because we are a consumer, then the principle is negatively. So it's different. If the price higher, then the quantity will be lower. But if the price cheaper, then the quantity will be higher. There are a lot of people want to buy a cheap price, or if we see there are a discount or sale, then there are so many people will queue to buy that product. So the slope negative. If we see the graphic or the graph, then we will see this is the demand. Slope negative means the line. So for the linear, the graph or the picture of linear must be line. The line can be in two ways. The first one, if the slope positive, then the line will go up, increase. But if the slope negative, then it will go down or decrease. Downward. This is downward. It means if we see this, if the price, an example, this is the price. So I try to give you an easy example. This is an example. This is 10 million rupiah. And then this is 5 million rupiah. An example, if I have iPhone, and then I want to sell this iPhone for 10 million. And then how many person want to buy this iPhone? Maybe the demand only, or the quantity only in this part. Say 5% want to buy my iPhone for 10 million. But if I reduce the price, an example, I want to offer it for 5 million rupiah. And then it will decrease. An example, it goes to this quantity. There are 15% want to buy. That's why the slope must be negative. Because if the price decrease, then the quantity will be increased. This is increase. Price decrease, then the quantity demanded will be increased. That's for the demand function. Let's see the example. So this is the example. If the price of a product is 100, then the product that will be sold are 10 units. And if the price decrease to become $75, then the product that will be sold are 20 units. Determine the demand function, sketch a graph of that function, and explain the interpretation of your answer. Remember, if we already know two coordinates, then we can use two coordinate method. Last week, in the previous tutorial, we were learning about how to create a linear equation with two methods. The first method is using 2 points or 2 coordinates, and the other one is using 1 coordinate or 1 point with 1 gradient. In this case, we can determine the price information and the quantity information as the first point and second point. Because in this case, we are talking about Q and P. So if we make a graph, then this is the Q, this is the P. So the coordinate must be Q, P, X, Y. Let's see. And now the formula no more X and Y, and we change the formula becomes Q and P. So this is the formula if we have two coordinates or 2 points and we want to create an equation of this linear example or of this linear equation. This is the form Qx equals to A minus B Px, the common form of linear equation for demand function. Let's try to create this. Maybe I would like to skip this and open board to typing. So let's read and remember one sentence by one sentence. The first one, if the price of product is 100, remember, price 100, so the P is 100. If the P is 100, maybe I just try to type here. Price is 100, then the product will be sold are 10 unit. Price, if the price 1 equals to $100, then the quantity that will be sold is 10 unit. Get it? And if the price decreased to become 75, then the product is 20. 75 and 20. So if the price now, maybe I write this, if the price equals to $75, then the quantity demanded to is how many? 20 units. So we have 2 points, 2 coordinates, Q1, P1, and Q2, P2. So we can create a linear equation based on this information. Use this formula, Q minus Q1 divided by P minus P1 equals to Q2 minus Q1 divided by P2 minus P1. Okay, let's try to find out the result. Q2 minus Q1, P2 minus P1. Use this information to be filled in this formula. Okay, so Q minus Q1, 10 unit, divided by P minus P1, 100, equals to Q2, 20, minus 10, divided by P2, 75, minus 100. Q minus 10, P minus minus, wait a minute. Minus 100, just retype it, and then 20 minus 10, 10. 75 minus 100 minus 25. Then we can multiply it. Minus 25, multiply it with this one, this part, and this one, P minus 100 times 10. Okay. So we can type it like this. Q minus 10 equals to 10 times P minus 100. This minus 25 times Q, minus 25Q. Yeah. Minus 25 times Q. Minus 25 times minus 10. For this part, 10 times P and 10 times minus 100. Okay. Minus 25 times minus 10. So you have to be careful because minus times minus means plus. 250 equals to 10P minus 1000. And then keep the Q, the form. Let's see the form. The form is Q equals to A minus B px. Let's type it here. This is the B px. Yeah. So keep the Q in the left hand side and put the other variable and the other number to the right hand side. So keep the Q minus 25Q equals to 10P minus 1000 and put it there. Minus 250 minus 250 or plus become minus. So we get the number minus 25Q equals to 10P minus 1000 minus 250. 1250. Let's bring it up. There you go. Okay. What are we going to do next? So minus 25 multiplied with Q. So we will use minus 25 as the division or to divide 10P minus 1, sorry. Here is this. 10P minus 1250 divided by 25, and don't forget to put the minus. This is minus, negative. So Q is equals to, the easiest way to calculate is using decimal. If you are confused or you are not sure about the how to divide it, just use calculator. In the test, you can open your book, so don't memorize. You don't need to memorize the formula, but you have to understand how to use that formula. And then you can use any tools to calculate the number. You can use calculator. You can use your real calculator, that is not embedded in the application in your laptop or your PC. That's also okay. And then you can also use Sempoa. 10 divided by 25. The result is 0.4. And don't forget the minus or negative, minus 0.4 P. Again. And then 250 divided by 25. 50. Minus divided by minus. So it become positive 50. Yeah. 50. So if we are looking at this equation, this final equation, this is actually nearly the same with this common form of demand function. So let's make it just like that part. So Q equals to 50. A, this is also mean A, minus B P. Exactly the same with the common form of equation for demand function. Now, in this case, so we have intercept and we also have what we call it. Yeah, we have, this is intercept and gradient. This is the intercept. And this is the gradient. I hope you remember how to interpret or define the intercept and gradient. So the intercept equals to 50. The intercept equals to 50. It means when the price, when the P, ya kan? When the P or price equals to 0, the price equal to 0. It means the price is very cheap or the price is free or there is no price for that product. When the price equals to 0 or free, we can call it when the price is free or no price, then the quantity demanded equals to 50. That's the interpretation of intercept. 50 unit. This is unit. And the gradient now. The gradient, I write the gradient here. The gradient equals to minus 0.4. What does it mean? It means what happened with this part if the price change. So the gradient minus equals to minus 0.4 means if or the quantity demanded, maybe you can write or type it using the long sentence, but I will use a code or only in the initial to define it. So the quantity demanded will, because this is negative or minus, so the quantity demanded will decrease 0.4 unit if or when the price increase or rise for 1 unit. What is the unit for the price? Dollar. So we can type it here. $1. The quantity demanded will increase 0.4 unit when the price increase. Oh, sorry. The quantity demanded will decrease or go down 0.4 unit when the price increase $1. And conversely, this is how you interpret the quantity of and price, especially about intercept and gradient interpretation. Now, what else are we going to do? I think we need to sketch a graph. Sketch a graph means this case want us to draw the graph. Maybe I just keep this I can maybe I just erase this part. Erase this part. Yeah. We can also erase this. Yeah. And to create linear equation. So linear equation is the easiest equation that we are going to draw, because the picture of the linear equation must be line. So for drawing a line, Garis, we only need two coordinate, at least two coordinate, then we can create a line. So let's try to find out the coordinate first and then try to draw it in a graph. So this is the equation. Q equals to, this is the equation, final equation of linear that we derive. 50 minus 0.4p. The easiest way to calculate or to create the coordinate is we can try q comma p and then put or pretend or fill each variable with 0. So the first one, if the p or the price is 0, then how many or what is the quantity? So it means q, if the p equals to 0, that's one. If the p equals to 0, then q equals to 50 minus 0.4 times 0. 0.4 times 0 means 0. So the quantity will be 50. If the p is 0, then the q will be 50. Then if the q equals to 0, then 0 equals to 50 minus 0.4p. So the p are equals to, or to make you not confused, then I try to write this complete number. Minus become positive in the left side equals to 50. So p equals to 50 divided by 50 divided by 0.4. 50 divided by 0.4. 125. 125. So we have two coordinates. The first coordinate I type in the blue color, 50, 0, and then the second one is 0, 125. So we can easily create or draw the graph. The x-axis for quantity and the vertical line or vertical or y-axis is for p or price. Okay. Yeah. So let's draw first 50, 0, 50, 50, 0. So yeah, pretend this is 50. This is 50, 0, q, p, and the second one is 0, 0, 125. 125. This is the coordinate. Then just draw it. This is must be straight. This is quite difficult to draw it using writing pad. So this is must be straight. Yeah, pretend that this is very straight. The mistake is not in your eyes. Yeah. So this must be very. This is a straight line. So very straight line. Nah. Malah kacau. Wait a minute. I try to draw this. One more. Ini 50 ya tadi ya. This is 50 and this one is 0. So the line is like this. Yeah, cool. Much better. And we just give the name of this equation Q equals to 50 minus 0.4p. So this is the complete way to draw a graph of the demand. So please write the coordinate and the line equation. Minus 0.4. Because it minus, then the slope must be negative. Or if your coordinate or you draw the wrong way, or it go upward, then you can realize that your graph must be wrong, because this part mean negative. Negative mean downward or goes down. Yeah, this is right. And because this is the demand, so we can see if the price decrease, then look, the quantity demanded will be increased. If the product cheaper, then the quantity demanded, then the person that want to buy this product will be increased. This is how you draw the graph and you interpret the graph. Okay. Next, let's continue. This is the how you this is the complete interpretation. The intercept is 50. Then when the price is nearly 0 or very cheap, then the quantity of product demanded are 50 units. Gradient is 0.4. The quantity of product demanded decreased by 0.4 unit when the price rises by $1 and conversely. Okay. That's the first function. Now we are going to the second function, supply function. We also want to discuss it from two variable perspectives that are price and quantity. But in this case, the quantity is not quantity demanded, but the quantity supplied. That's why some reference write the QS, quantity supply. So for the supply function, pretend that you are a seller or producer. If the price goes up, sometimes it means the product, the product is very, very popular at that time or trend. There are so many people want that product. That's why the product is very high at that time. Or if the product is very rare, then the price is also higher. That means if the price higher, the seller or the producer can have more profit because of that price. So for the supply function, pretend that we are a supplier, we are a producer, we are a seller. So if the price goes up or increase, then the quantity supplied will be increased too. And if the price decrease or the product is very cheap, then the quantity supplied, or maybe there are no more people that want to sell that product anymore. Because what for? The price is decreased, the margin is very low, then nobody want to sell it as a supplier. So the supply function equation form, this is the supply function equation form. Q equals to G or function P. So the Q is in the left side and the P is in the right side. But this time the slope is positive, or the P is positive or plus. The sign is plus. P is positive. Q is quantity of product to market. P is price. A and B is parameter, and P must be positive. The slope is positive. If the P is positive, then the line in the graph must be upward or go up. This is also how we interpret, or we can have the point of view, or we can describe from the line that this is the real supply function. Because if the price goes up, this is the price goes up, an example from 5 and then to 12 at this spot. When 5, no one want to sell it. But if the price goes up, then maybe there are 10 or 20 people want to sell that product. This means if the price goes up, then the quantity supplied also goes up or increase. Okay? This is the next example. When the product price equals to 500, let's do this quickly. Product is 500. Let's skip. Here is this. Now we move to the supply function. Product is 500, then sold 60. Product price equals to 500, and the quantity, first quantity is 60. Then, well, the price rises to be 700, then the product are 100. Price 2 equals to 700. Then the product will be sold 100. Q2 is 100 unit. This is unit. It depends on the unit. If unit, then unit. If an example, this is bag or etc., then you need to define it as a bag or liter, etc. Then use the same equation or formula, Q minus Q1, P minus P1 equals to Q. P2 minus P1. Q minus Q1, 60. P minus 500 equals to Q, who is 100 minus 60 divided by P2, 700 minus 500. Q minus 60, P minus 500. 100 minus 60 is 40. 700 minus 500 equals to 200. And then multiply it. 200 times Q. 200 Q minus 60 times 200. 60 times 200. 12,000 equals to 40 P minus 2,000 ya. 40 times 500. 20,000. Be careful with the sign. So minus, right? Minus 500 times 40. So this is minus 20,000. Keep the Q in the left side and move this part. Minus 20,000 plus 12,000. Q equals to 40 P minus 8,000 divided by 200. Got it? 200 become division. And then Q equals to 40 divided by 200 by 200. 0.2 P, and then this must be minus. Oh, wait a minute. 8,000 divided by 200. 40 minus 40. This is the equation. You can type it like this one, or you can also make the common form or create it as the same with the supply function of linear equation plus A plus BP. A and B can be in positive or in a negative, but be careful, for the B must be positive because of this is supply function. And A, it's possible to have negative for A. So this is the quantity of supply function. Minus 40 plus 0.2 P. That's the answer. So if we want to interpret the result, so this is the intercept. Intercept is the one or the constanta, the number without variable, and the gradient is the number that followed by the variable, the independent variable or price. So the intercept is minus 40 and the gradient is 0.2. Minus 40 is the intercept and the gradient is 0.2. If we are going to interpret this statement, then this is the interpretation of intercept and gradient for this function. The intercept is minus 40. Intercept is minus 40. So if the P equals to 0, the intercept actually simple. Just if the variable is 0, then the quantity that the producer or seller want to produce or sell equals to minus 40. Because in the application of economic and business, we don't want any number in negative, because this is not realistic or nonsense. An example, how many units that we are going to sell, or the supplier want to sell, minus 40, that's impossible to sell minus. Or how much is the price for the product? An example, I sell iPhone for 10 million. Yeah, that's real. But this is nonsense if I tell you that I sell my iPhone for minus 10 million. What does it mean? So I give this iPhone to you and I give you money. So I sell it for minus because I have to give the consumer money too. That's impossible, or that will not be happen in the real life. So if you have minus in the calculation, so the producer want to produce R minus, you cannot set minus 40, but you can change it to nothing. This is just the number. But if you interpret it properly, then you can say or just write, then the quantity that the producer want to produce or sell are nothing. Nothing that the producer want to sell. Because the P is 0. No one want to sell a product if the price is 0. Get the idea? Yeah. And then the next one is gradient. The gradient is 0.2 in front of the variable P. So the product that producer or seller want to sell will increase 0.2. Quantity will increase 0.2 if the price, or when the price is also rises 1 unit. In this case, $1. So if it rises $10, then the quantity will increase 2 units, etc. And conversely. Yeah. That's the idea of the interpretation. So you can have a point of view or perspective about the product or quantity and the price of that product. The relationship between quantity and product that you are going to sell, or the producer want to sell in this supply function. So how to create the graph? Just do the same way you create the demand function. So for this case, yeah, Q and P. If the P equals to 0, then the quantity is minus 40. Then if the Q is 0, then please try to find the other number. Minus 40 plus 0.2 P. You can just type it. 0 equals to minus 40 plus 0.2 P. 0.2 P equals to 40. If we move 40 there, so P equals to 40 divide by 0.2. Sorry, 40 divided by 0.2. 200. Oh, hilang. Yeah. So this is how you draw the graph. Create Q and P. If the price is 0, then this is for minus 40. And if the quantity is 0, then 0 equals to minus 40 plus 0.2p. So P equals to 40 divided by 0.2 equals to 200. 200. So we have two coordinates. The first one is minus 40, 0, and the second one is 0.200. So if we are going to draw this part, minus 40, sorry, there is a minus. This is a good example actually. So I think I would like to draw a proper, because there is a minus. I want to show you how to draw the minus or negative in the application of linear equation. So this is the line. We have two lines, vertical and horizontal. This is Q, this is P, must be straight. And for the first one, minus 40, 0, minus 40. Minus 40, 0 in this coordinate. And the other one is 0, 200. 0 and 200. This is the P, an example. Let's say this is 200 here. Or maybe move the 200 a bit lower. Sorry, 0, 200. This is the coordinate, and then just make a line. Now, this is how you draw in the negative part. So the line must be in, not in the straight, but it does like this, and then start from 200. Then this is the way you create the straight line. Yeah. In the positive part, you can draw it straight line, fully straight line. But in the negative side, using dash or putus-putus, gambar putus-putus, and give the name of this line equation, minus 40 plus 0.2p. Yeah, this is the graph. So if the price is start from 200, then there are a seller that want to sell this, but negative, nobody want to sell it. Even if the price is 100, an example, this is 100, then the quantity demanded, the quantity supply is in this part. That means no one want to sell it in $100 or price. If the price is 100, then nobody want to sell it. Even if the price is 200, then nobody want to sell. There is no seller want to sell. But if the quantity is in this part, or if the price higher than 200, say an example 300, then there are this quantity that want to be sold by the supplier. This is the interpretation. Okay? And how you draw the graph. Okay, let me continue. The third function is total revenue. This is also included in microeconomics. Total revenue is the amount of money received by the firm from the sale of its goods. The total revenue have the formula. This is the formula of total revenue. Total revenue equals to P times Q. TR is total revenue or penerimaan total in bahasa Indonesia. And then P is the product price per unit, and Q is the total goods sold or the quantity sold. An example, if I have this case, if the price of each good is $70, then determine the total revenue function. Total revenue equals to P times Q. The price is $70. So we have 70 times Q. This is the total revenue, total penerimaan. If an example, I have 2 iPhones. An example, if I sell one of these iPhone for 10 million, then 10 million, the price times the quantity, 1. So I only get 10 million. But if I sell 2 of this, so we can easily calculate with multiply the price 10 million, 10 million, 10 million times 2. So I got the total revenue of 20 million rupiah. That's the example, the easiest example. So total revenue is P or price times quantity. It has gradient and intercept too. TR equals to 70Q. So 70 is, what is 70? Intercept or gradient? Because 70 is in the front of Q or independent variable in this time. So this is gradient. This is gradient. Yeah? This is gradient. And the intercept is the A part is plus something here. It is not written, means this is must be 0. That the intercept is 0. And then how we interpret that equation. So this is how we interpret the equation. TR equals to 70Q. This is gradient. This is the gradient. The gradient. And the intercept is 0. So it is not written in this equation. This is the intercept. That means intercept is 0. When Q is taken to be 0, when Q, the quantity sold, is taken to be 0, no quantity sold. And then the TR must be 0. I want to sell this to iPhone. This is new one. This one is because of the, you see, there is a crack in the LCD. So it's not comfort anymore. Then my family, because couple days ago was my birthday, so they give me a present, a new iPhone. What's the point? Okay, focus. So if an example, I want to sell this iPhone, but when key or I do not sell any of them, so it means 70 times 0. There is no money that I can bring home. An example. So if the intercept equals to 0, means when Q is taken to be 0, I'm not selling any of my iPhone, then the value of TR, then I will get no money, or the total revenue that I have is also 0. That's why the intercept in this part is 0. That's impossible if I sell iPhone, but I didn't sell any of them, but I get an example 1 million rupiah. That's impossible. How? Rob a bank or find in the street, or that's impossible. That will not happen. That's why the interpretation of the intercept in total revenue must be 0. And then the other one is gradient. The gradient is 70. This is the price. The value of total revenue increased by $70 when quantity of goods that firm sell rises by 1 unit. The total revenue will increase if there is rises in the quantity. Quantity increase 1, get $70 more, get more $70, etc. An example, if we back to the iPhone example that I give you, an example of my iPhone, an example, if I sell this for 10 million, so the TR is 10 million times Q. If I only sell one, then I will get 10 million. If I sell one more, I get 1 more million. One more rises of quantity will result in 1 mil or in 10 million rupiah increase. In this case, because the price is only 70, then if the quantity sales rises by 1 unit, then the total revenue will increase by $70 when quantity rise 1 unit. Get the idea? That's for total revenue. Next, total cost. Total cost is the amount of money that the firm has to spend to produce this good. The total cost also has a formula. This is the formula of total cost. The total cost equals to fixed cost plus average variable cost times Q. Fixed cost is the cost that the company have to expand even there is no production. An example, if I have a smartphone company or iPhone manufacturer, and then one of the fixed costs that easily to understand, or usually I use it as an example, is the salary. If you are working in my company, in my manufacturer, then if there is a holiday, an example, at Idul Fitri holiday for a week, and then as my employer, do you want to be paid, or do you want the company pay you even you are in your holiday, or because this is holiday so the company do not need to pay me? That will not happen. Even because of there is a special holiday like Idul Fitri holiday, some people ask more, like a Christmas holiday for a Christian. So there are like additional money that the company give for us for our special event, THR. So this is called as fixed cost. Even there is no production, then the company still have to pay this cost. So it's called as fixed. The other example is land, rental a place, equipment, rent and skill labor, etc. Yeah, labor, employee, etc. And then plus, so there are two components in total cost. The first one is fixed cost, the cost that have to be paid even if there is no production. And the second one is called as average variable cost. Average variable cost mean raw material, component, etc. An example, so to make us not confusing, so I use one product for our example. So an example, this iPhone. To produce this iPhone, we need some part or component of this iPhone's spare part. An example, we need the LCD, and then the battery, camera. If we embed two camera, then we need two camera in one phone. If you need three camera, then you can put three camera. And then that things or that component called as average variable cost. So cost that depend on the quantity. So an example, if the LCD, camera, battery, an example is 5 million rupiah. So for one iPhone that the manufacturer or the company produce need 5 million rupiah for the material, then that called as average cost material. 5 million times so many iPhone that I want to produce at that time. An example is I just want to produce one, then 5 million times one. Only need 5 million to build this iPhone. But if I want to produce 100 iPhone, then 5 million times 100. That means 500 million rupiah for producing the iPhone or 100 iPhone. That's called as average variable cost. The cost that depend on the Q. That's why average variable cost multiplied or it will calculate based on the quantity of good. So this is the component of total cost. Fixed cost plus average variable cost times Q. This is the example. Given that fixed costs are 1,000 and the average variable costs are 4 per unit, express total cost function of Q. Total cost function of Q means total cost equals to function Q. So the Q is in the right side. Total cost is derived from fixed cost plus average variable cost times Q. So the total cost equals to 1,000 plus average variable cost 4 times Q. So this is the total cost function that is it. This total cost function also has intercept. This is the intercept, and this part is the gradient or slope. The intercept means if the key, this is 1,000, means goes here. Intercept is 1,000. It means if the key equals to 0, there is no production, then the total cost is equals to 1,000. Even there is no production, this company have to pay $1,000. An example. The gradient equals to 4. So the total cost will increase 4, in this case $4, if the quantity produced also increase or rise by 1 unit. That's the idea of interpretation of intercept and gradient. Nah, this is how you this is a more clearer explanation. Intercept is 1,000. When the amount of product there are produced is 0, no production, no production, no product are produced, that means the quantity equals to 0, then the total cost still 1,000 because this is the fixed cost. And the gradient is 4. The total of total cost increases by 4, depend on what is 4. An example, if it is dollar, then you can type dollar. If it is in rupiah, then you put in rupiah. An example in billion rupiah, etc. When the amount of the product are produced, Q rises by 1 unit. Because Q rises by 1 unit, then the total cost is also rise by 4. That's for gradient, average variable cost. Clear enough? Okay. Next, profit function. Profit function is the difference between total revenue and total cost. This is called as profit. Profit is derived with this formula. Profit, usually we put this sign for profit, P equals to total revenue minus total cost. That's simple. This is the example. If the average variable cost, so determine the profit function. Total, P, yeah. Profit is P. P equals to total revenue minus total cost. TR, so if the average variable cost per unit, average variable cost, this is AVC, average variable cost, and the selling price, so this is P, then the fixed costs are 2 million rupiah. So determine the profit function. Profit function is equals to TR minus TC, because there is no TR and TC straightly that given for us about the information of those variable. So we need to describe it. TR come from P, Q, and TC is fixed cost plus average variable cost times Q. Be careful with this bracket, because if we open the bracket, then the second part, FVC times Q, become negative too. P, we have P, 20,000 Q minus fixed cost. The fixed cost is 2 million, and plus AVC. If we open the bracket, it become negative too. Average variable cost equals to 4,000 Q. So the P, the number or value that has the same variable, we can calculate or we can count it together. So 12,000 minus 4,000, 8,000 Q minus 2 million. This is the profit function. 8,000 Q minus 2 million. 8,000 Q minus 2 million. That means the intercept. This is the intercept, and this is the gradient. The intercept is minus 2 million. When Q, or quantity that are sold by the producer, is 0, the intercept means if the right variable is 0, then what happened? Actually, only that. So this is actually if I only type the variable, if key equals to 0, then what happened with the p? The p is equals to minus 2 million. When q, there is no production, then the value of profit is minus 2 million. That means the firm will lose 2 million because this firm have to pay the fixed costs, or an example, the salary, even there is no production. That's why in the near time before Eid al-Fitr, an example, usually the company sell a lot or make a promo, discount, etc. and send the twice or double quantity to some places to pretend, or just for precaution before holiday. So they can still retrieve money even there is holiday or no production at that month. The gradient equals to 8 million. This is the next interpretation. So the profit, the gradient, this is the gradient. The gradient, if we are talking about the gradient, so actually we focus or concern about the two variables. This is and this. So the P equals to or increase by, so this variable will increase by this much or this number when the Q is rises 1 unit. Q must be only rises by 1 unit, and then what happened with the other variable? In this case, what happened with the profit, the P? So the profit increase, the P increase by 8,000 rupiah when the quantity that will be sold rises 1 unit. This is like the example about my iPhone before that previously I explained to you. One more quantity sold, then one more total revenue that will influence in profit. That's the idea. Yeah, this is the end of the application of linear function in economic and business tutorial part 1. We are going to continue in part 2. So have a nice day, stay safe, and God bless all of you. I think yeah, that's enough for this part 1. So keep your spirit for the next tutorial. Semangat!